Greenland, a land where time stands frozen in ice, and the wind whispers ancient secrets. Civilizations have vanished here, legends have been born, and events have unfolded that defy explanation. Today, we journey to a place where the line between myth and reality fades. Welcome to a world full of mysteries and the unknown. Chapter 1: The Mysterious Kingdom of Ice. How did Greenland come to be? You stand on the shore. The cold air cuts your lungs, and the icy wind lashes your face. Before you stretches Greenland, the largest island on the planet, covering an area of 2.16 million square kilometers. Today, its surface is 80% covered in ice, and winter temperatures drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius. But it wasn't always like this. Greenland was part of an ancient supercontinent, but then it separated and found itself alone among the cold waters of the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans. The Great Deception of Erik the Red. The first man to set foot on Greenland was Erik Thorvaldsson, better known as Erik the Red. Exiled from Iceland for murder, he had no home to return to. In 982, he stumbled upon a massive ice-covered island. But along the coast, he saw green valleys, and that gave him an idea. To lure settlers, he cleverly named it Greenland. But this wasn't just a name. It was marketing. People, weary of harsh conditions, believed him. In 985, Erik gathered 25 ships filled with settlers. Only 14 made it, but the first Viking colonies were established. For centuries, they battled the cold, food shortages, and attacks from the native Skraelings. Then, their settlements vanished without a trace. Was it starvation, warfare, or the brutal climate that sealed their fate? The mystery remains. But one fact is undeniable. Greenland was never green. It was a deception that brought people here and left them at the mercy of the cold. And so, Greenland entered history as a ruthless land, discovered by an outlaw. Chapter 2: The Greenland Ice Sheet. Today, about 80% of Greenland is covered by ice, forming the Greenland Ice Sheet, the second largest in the world after Antarctica. It occupies 1.7 million square kilometers, and its maximum thickness reaches 3,200 meters. That's the height of 10 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. But what is even more astonishing is that this icy giant contains about 2.9 million cubic kilometers of ice, which accounts for 7% of all the fresh water on the planet. If it were to completely melt, the sea level would rise by 7.4 meters, flooding coastal cities including London, New York, and Tokyo. But what lies hidden beneath this thick layer of ice? For a long time, it was believed that beneath the ice sheet lay only a rocky foundation, but recent studies have shown that a whole forgotten world is hidden there. In 2018, scientists discovered more than 50 subglacial lakes beneath the ice, the largest of which covers an area of 500 square kilometers. These lakes do not freeze due to geothermal heat emanating from the Earth's interior. At a depth of 1.8 kilometers beneath the ice lies an ancient lake, untouched by time. Scientists named it Lake 79 degrees North, and its age is about 3 million years. Why is it so important? The water in this lake has never come into contact with the surface since its formation. This means that it may harbor unique life forms that exist nowhere else on Earth. In 2018, scientists began research by taking ice samples and found traces of ancient microorganisms. But the most intriguing part is that these samples contain signs of methane, which may indicate unknown biological processes. Are these the traces of long-extinct beings, or something that could change our understanding of life on Earth? The answer to this question remains a mystery. But lakes are not the only thing that the ice cover of Greenland conceals. Giant craters. Greenland is the site of one of the most mysterious meteorite impacts in history. In 2015, NASA satellites discovered a huge crater, Hiawatha, hidden beneath a kilometer of ice. Its diameter is 31 kilometers, and its age is estimated to be between 12,000 and 3 million years. If this meteorite fell 12,000 years ago, its impact could have been one of the reasons for the sudden cooling on Earth, affecting the climate of the entire planet. Some scientists even link it to the extinction of mammoths. But that's not all. In 2018, scientists found another crater, 36 kilometers in diameter. It is still unclear when it formed and what exactly fell on Greenland. But one thing is clear. This island attracts mysteries like a magnet. What if the ancient inhabitants of Greenland witnessed the fall of these meteorites? How did they explain this phenomenon? The answer can be found in legends. Legends of the Inuit about strange creatures that live in the mountains. Greenlandic Inuit are the indigenous people of the island, and their myths are full of mysteries. They believe that in the depths of icy caves and among the snow-capped mountains live Takangwak, shadow people. According to legend, these creatures appeared before the first humans. They move silently, live in caves, and never leave a trace. Sometimes they come out to hunters, but they can only be seen out of the corner of their eye. And there is also a story about Kalalitarnek, giants covered in white fur who allegedly guard the island. Some stories say that these are not just legends, but mentions of long-extinct species that may have lived here thousands of years ago. But what if there is some truth in these myths? Could it be that the Inuit stories are not just fairy tales, but memories of real creatures? Greenland holds many more secrets. Further, we will understand why this icy island became an arena of struggle for world powers and what role it plays in global politics. Is Greenland moving? Fact or myth? Thousands of years ago, when the ice sheet began to form, it became so heavy that it began to press on the Earth's crust, lowering Greenland down. But as the ice slowly melts, the land beneath it begins to rise. This process is called isostatic uplift. In addition, the glacier is not just standing still, it is slowly moving. Some parts of the ice slide at a speed of up to 30 meters per year, and giant icebergs break off and drift in the ocean. This makes Greenland not just an icy country, but a real living organism that is constantly changing. But what awaits it in the future? Scientists predict that if temperatures continue to rise, ice melting will accelerate, and within a few hundred years, Greenland may become green again. But at what cost to the rest of the world? Chapter 3. Life on the Edge of the World. Greenland is not just the far north. It is a place where people have learned to live, following the rhythm of nature, where every day is a struggle against the cold, and every evening is a reward for a day lived. This is a place where the harsh climate dictates the rules of survival. There are no familiar amenities, no roads between cities, and life is a constant confrontation with nature. But people live here. More than 56,000 people, mostly Inuit, have adapted to the cold, snow, and polar night. How? Let's take a look at everyday life on this icy island. There are no roads between cities. Why? First, ice and mountains. 80% of the island is covered by an ice sheet, and the ice-free areas are separated by mountains and fjords. Building roads here is as difficult as building a highway through Antarctica. Second, distances. Greenland is huge, 2,166,000 square kilometers. But most people live on a narrow strip of land along the coast. Cities are located far from each other, and building and maintaining roads in such a climate would be too expensive. What replaces roads? Airplanes, boats, and snowmobiles. Domestic flights are commonplace, and in the winter months, residents use dog sleds and snowmobiles. What does a typical day of a local resident look like? Life in Greenland is not like the usual city routine. There are no crowds, traffic jams, or large shopping malls. The morning begins with checking the weather. It decides whether there will be a trip today for hunting, fishing, or work. Many Greenlanders still engage in traditional crafts. They fish, hunt seals and walruses. In fishing villages, people go out to sea in small boats, lowering nets under the ice. And hunters, armed with harpoons and rifles, go far into the tundra, where they follow the migration of reindeer and walruses. In large cities such as Nuuk, the capital, there are offices, schools, and even a university. People work in stores, hospitals, and construction. And in the evenings, they gather in cozy houses with large windows watching the northern lights. By the way, there is electricity and the internet here, but it is expensive. Many use generators, and the internet connection is weaker than in Europe or the USA. Why don't the Inuit freeze, and how is their body adapted to the cold? Answer in evolution and lifestyle. Genetic adaptation. Scientists have found that the Inuit have a special mutation in their genes that affects fat metabolism. Their bodies break down fat faster, getting more energy to heat the body. Nutrition. The traditional Greenlandic diet is rich in fatty fish, whale, and seal meat. These products contain omega-3 fatty acids, which help the body better tolerate cold. Clothing. Unlike tourists wrapped in modern down jackets, the Inuit have worn reindeer hide clothing for centuries. Such clothing retains heat, and the fur inside creates a natural layer of insulation. Lifestyle. The people of Greenland move a lot, and when the cold becomes unbearable, they simply use traditional methods of warming, such as hot tea, fur skins. Here you can fry a steak from a shark that is a few months old. If you think you've tried everything that world cuisine can offer, then you probably haven't heard of hakarl, a Greenlandic dish that challenges even the bravest gourmets. Hakarl is the meat of the Greenland polar shark, which is first buried in the ground for 2 to 3 months and then dried in the open air for several more months. Sounds strange? The fact is that fresh shark meat is poisonous due to the high content of urea. Only after prolonged fermentation does it become edible. Smell. Imagine a mixture of ammonia, old cheese, and fish. That's what hakarl smells like. Taste. Bitter, sharp, reminiscent of very aged cheese with fish notes. How is it eaten? Most often, in small pieces, washed down with strong alcohol to drown out the sharp taste. This dish is a real gastronomic challenge, but for local residents, it is part of their culture and history. So if you ever find yourself in Greenland, you will have a chance to test your endurance. Why can you see the northern lights in Greenland all year round? The northern lights are one of the most mesmerizing natural phenomena on Earth. Usually, it can only be seen in the winter months, but Greenland is an exception. Here, the aurora borealis illuminates the sky all year round, and there are several reasons for this. Location. Greenland is located under the oval zone of auroras, where charged particles of the solar wind collide with atmospheric molecules and create this magical light. Lack of light pollution. Unlike Europe or North America, there is practically no artificial lighting here that could drown out the glow. Geomagnetic activity. Greenland is located in an area of a strong Earth's magnetic field, which makes the glow more intense and frequent. But it is best to observe it from September to April, when the nights are longer and darker. Thousands of tourists come here for this spectacle. But our travels don't end there. In the next chapter, we will talk about Greenland's most important resource, its minerals, and why this icy island is so interesting to world powers. Chapter 4. Strategic Position. Why is Greenland so important? Greenland is more than it seems at first glance. What makes this island truly unique is its strategic and geopolitical significance. Great powers view Greenland as a military power outpost, a source of valuable resources, and a strategic hub for controlling the Arctic. Let's explore why this island attracts the attention of superpowers. Military interest. Greenland as an Arctic shield. Greenland gained its strategic importance during World War II when the United States established military bases there. However, real interest in the island flared up during the Cold War when it became a crucial point in the confrontation between the USSR and the USA. Thule Base, the northernmost military outpost of the USA. In 1951, the Americans built Thule Air Base, the largest military base in the Arctic. It is located just 1,524 kilometers from the North Pole, making it an important early warning point for missile launches. Radar systems are installed here that can detect ballistic missiles flying over the North Pole. Greenland as a shield against nuclear strikes. If a global military conflict ever occurs, the likelihood that the first attack will go through the Arctic is extremely high. That is why the USA continues to maintain its military presence here. Arena for future conflict? In recent years, both Russia and China have intensified their activities in the Arctic. Russia is building new military bases, China is investing in Greenland's infrastructure, and the USA is closely monitoring the situation. Could Greenland become a new arena for superpower confrontation? History will tell. Political struggle. Who governs Greenland? Although Greenland officially belongs to Denmark, the island has broad autonomy. However, the independence movement is gaining strength, and the question of Greenland's future status remains open. Greenland wants independence, but can it survive without Denmark? Currently, Denmark allocates about 3.9 billion Danish kroner, about $600 million, to Greenland annually in subsidies. This money accounts for about 60% of the island's budget. If Greenland gains independence, it will have to seek new sources of income. In 2019, US President Donald Trump proposed that Denmark sell Greenland. This statement caused an uproar, but Trump himself insisted that the idea was serious. Why? The USA understands the strategic value of the island and wants to prevent Chinese and Russian influence in the region. Economic potential. Riches beneath the ice. Greenland is not only a strategic object, but also a treasure trove of natural resources. Rare earth metals. Beneath the Greenlandic ice lie vast reserves of oil, uranium, iron ore, nickel, copper, and rare earth metals. The latter are particularly important. Neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium are used in the production of smartphones, electric vehicles, and military equipment. Who controls these resources? China has been trying for several years to gain access to Greenland's deposits. In 2021, the Greenlandic government banned uranium mining, which limited China's opportunities. However, the struggle for resources continues. Could Greenland become a new oil power? It is believed that more than 50 billion barrels of oil lie off the coast of Greenland. However, developing these deposits in harsh Arctic conditions is an expensive endeavor. Path to the Arctic. Global warming and new shipping routes. Global warming is changing the map of the world. Temperatures in the Arctic are rising twice as fast as the global average. As a result, the ice cover of Greenland is shrinking, opening up new shipping routes. Greenland as a gateway to the Arctic. If the ice continues to melt, Greenland could become a key transport point through which new shipping routes between Europe, Asia, and North America will pass. Why are China, Russia, and the USA watching Greenland's ice? China sees Greenland as part of its polar Silk Road. Russia is strengthening its military presence in the Arctic, and the USA seeks to maintain control over the island. Conclusion. Greenland. The icy key to the future. This cold, snowy island has long ceased to be just a geographical object. It is the key to the Arctic, a treasure trove of resources, a strategic shield, and an arena for political games. The ice may melt, borders may change, but Greenland will always remain one of the most mysterious and significant places on our planet. The story of Greenland continues, and perhaps it will take its next great step right before our eyes. Greenland's mysteries are far from over, and its icy landscapes continue to shape the future of our planet. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time, legend, and discovery. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.